Okay, The Boogeyman, based off a story by Stephen King. I got to see this movie. Lucky me, I got to see this movie twice in theaters. I got to see. I went last week. I'm like, you know what? I'm getting a little busy. Let me watch this movie. So I have it out of the way. And then last night I get a message from Casey saying she's too afraid to see it in theaters by herself. So I got to wake up bright and early this morning and watch The Boogeyman again.
The matinee showing, which I would have been okay if I went by myself. I just knew I would have been by myself. But then there were other people in the theater, apparently.
Yeah, we got
two young girls.
We got shushed by a grandma because we didn't see them. They were so quiet.
Trying to enjoy my horror movie.
So,
exactly.
What did you guys think of The Boogeyman? I guess we'll just go down the line here, starting with Joey.
Yeah, I loved it. It was 90 minutes, and I think that works well with horror.
Yes.
My expectations were low, since The Boogeyman is like kind of generic of like a monster. I kind of enjoyed the movie. It's usually hit or miss with like PG-13 horror movies, but this one was decent. It's a pretty cliche movie, but I think when it comes to the monster, I think the monster design was pretty cool. I was actually shocked to see people jump in the theaters for this. I don't know why my expectations were that low.
It was shot well. The scares were
good. The creative use of lighting was really cool. I think that's probably what I enjoyed the most about this movie. And the atmosphere was spooky. I was almost scared.
Okay.
I was almost scared.
This is a remake, right?
No. Adam, you're confused because there's multiple movies called The Boogeyman.
Yeah, I am confused.
Yes, the one you're probably thinking of is from 2005, and it's one of the only movies I've ever turned off and said I'm never watching this again. But then there's older movies called The Boogeyman. There's like a trilogy made by like a hack Italian guy, and they're about like an evil mirror that you have to destroy with water. They're not good. Okay, Gil, you said you didn't see it, right?
Yeah, I didn't see it.
Okay, Casey, what did you think of The Boogeyman?
I thought this movie was awesome. I also went in with kind of low expectations. That's why it took me so long to actually see the movie.
Yeah.
Nothing will ever top Disney's Don't Look Under the Bed for me. I think that should really be made into a horror film. But yeah, I left this movie thinking it's like one of my favorites so far of the year, I think.
Really?
Yeah, I really did. I thought after you told me the director directed Host, like that's one of my I love that movie. I thought that was so good. And he did such a good job with this. Like the screenplay was okay. But the way what the director did with it was absolutely awesome.
The way the monster scenes are shot are really clever. Just to clarify, Host from 2021, I think, the one that was shot all on like Zoom, the horror movie that was shot on Zoom. There's also multiple movies called Host. One of them.
I thought she meant The Host, and I was like,
that's what I thought too.
I'm actually really interested in that.
Yeah. Not The Host, the Twilight alien one, or the one about the giant monster. But yes, Host with where like the people do a seance on Zoom, which I thought was pretty cool. So yeah, Wyatt, what did you think?
I like the Host. I like Host more than this one. Like Joey said, it was kind of a very like by the numbers cliche type horror movie. I did like the monster design in it. I did expect what's his name, David Dastmalchian. I thought he was going to be in it way more than he was, because I actually liked his character. That was one of the more creepier scenes of the movie. I liked the first act of it, but as it was going on, it just kind of took me out of it. I don't think it was bad by any means. It's just kind of a very just mediocre horror film.
Yeah, I personally really, really enjoyed it. I thought the cast was really good. The dad was Mr. Zaz in the Birds of Prey movie. He's actually in the show we're going to talk about next.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Mindy Project.
He is? I never watched the Mindy Project.
Yeah, very different from this.
But I know where these two girls are from. Adam's favorite shows of all time. The older sister was Dumb Robot Girl from Book of Boba Fett, Adam's favorite show.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I didn't know that.
I'm going to head out and see that then.
And then the younger sister is Stupid Kid Princess Leia from Obi-Wan. Actually, they're really good. They're really good in the movie. And actually, that actress was she did a good job in Obi-Wan. It's just who gives a shit about Kid Leia? I don't. But yeah, they're really good in the movie. It's got a very family-driven story there. The monster was cool, but I feel like we were left out on some details about the monster. Like how was it traveling? Was it through that fungus? Yeah. Like that was
what I thought.
Yeah, there was no backstory to the actual monster. That's what I left. That was my question.
Yeah, and then the crazy lady's like, they could have been around forever, and it's like, is there more than one? Can you clarify that?
Yeah.
At one point, there's a cool trap where they set up how they think it could be killed, and then that doesn't work. But then a different way of killing them works, and we're never really sure why. But me and Casey did notice they kind of almost stole the Predator line. Yeah. They were like, I saw it bleed, which means it can be killed. I'm like, wow, you just got away with that one. That was very
took a long way around
Predator. It's the same universe. And I thought the movie had a lot of feels like in the early 2000s. It reminded me of the movies back then.
Yeah.
Back then.
Yeah, back then. It was good old
But
days.
I also listened to like a podcast with the director, and the whole time I was thinking it reminded me of like The Conjuring a little bit. And, I thought the monster reminded me of Jurassic Park, and he took a lot of inspiration from those set pieces, from like The Conjuring and from even the.
Yeah,
even
I will say
Park.
there were jump scares, but they weren't annoying. Like I wasn't bothered by any of the jump scares. There was actually moments that are cool. Like I always bring up the first It movie that came out a few years back. Like when its eyes like glow in the dark, that's a creepy scene. But I guess they didn't feel confident, so they added like a huge musical sting to it, which ruined it. But like this, you can see the monster's eyes. Yeah, it's creepy. And also, I have the same moonlight as the girl in the movie.
Do you sleep with it?
Yeah, I got a moonlight because I have a galaxy lamp. And at night, I'm like, wow, I feel like I'm in space where I'd rather be. And I'm like, I'm cool. And then I realized while watching this movie, like, oh, I think this is for children. Okay.
Well, that was the one thing about the movie I kept questioning. Was like, it's a cool thing where like you're rolling the ball across the floor just to see the monster, but then like you're giving up your light source. You're putting yourself in the dark then at danger. It's cool,
right.
but
and I didn't really know like the limits of the because the very first kill, there's like a bunch of lights around and the monster's okay. Speaking of the monster, I had an animated GIF, but it's not working. So at the very end, not to spoil too much, the monster's mouth opens up. And there's another monster inside its mouth. And it reminded me of the movie The Uninvited, which again, there are multiple movies called The Uninvited. But the one I'm talking about is the one about a mutant cat, and this is supposed to be animated, that throws up a different mutant cat who then kills people and crawls back into the first mutant cat's mouth. So it's not every day a AAA like released big title reminds me of this stupid fucking movie, which I will be covering at some point with Captain Boomies because it all takes place on a yacht. But yeah, Boogeyman.
Friends are terrible in that movie too. That was like another issue. Like your friends are horrible.
Oh my god!
Find new friends.
I was telling Casey,
Good point.
I've only ever seen people do this in movies, but like the main characters, their mom has just recently died, and there's like a girl at school like kind of like making fun of her for having a dead mom. And I'm like, I remembered you ever see Pet Sematary 2? The sequel. Yeah, there's a bully in that just keeps bullying the kid for having a dead mom. Like, I've only ever seen that in movies. I've never seen that in real life. That feels like a really weird reason to bully someone.
It's like a Halloween 4, I think.
Yeah, Jamie's an orphan.
Yeah, exactly.
Halloween 4. They're singing about it.
Yeah, I was like, I know some kids are cruel, but this is like the entire school body is chasing her and is so elated that she's an orphan.
They're all really, really mean. But
I thought the mom thing was going to be more of a plot point too, because they kept bringing it up. So I thought that was going to play into the story too, but it just never.
It plays it, that whole aspect with the whole seance thing. That didn't work for me. I thought that was a little overly complicated. But overall, I enjoyed it. It's a solid little horror film. Not the best thing ever. Not bad. It's just a fun one to just put on one night. It's enjoyable. So I think we all kind of liked it.